Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I've got some more pickups here for everybody. So this was stuff that I would have gotten during the holiday season and shortly thereafter, including a bunch of stuff I just got in the last couple of days. One was from a friend of mine who went into the city and picked up something for me because he was there and it was available and I wasn't there. And some stuff I just picked up today that I never really thought I'd have in my RPG collection, but we do now. So there we go. All right. So before we get into that, though, there are some other role playing games that I've gotten some new products for, some things to expand those collections. I did show off the Star Trek Adventures second edition starter set, so I'm not going to include that in this video because I've already done an unboxing of it. But I also need to open the shrink wrap at some point for this. But I also finally picked up a copy of the Star Trek Adventures Gamma Quadrant sourcebook. So for years I had the Alpha, Beta, and Delta Quadrant books and could never find the Gamma Quadrant one. It was always out of stock at the online stores that I would check out. And to get it from Modiphius, the price was just a little bit too high with the shipping and everything for what I really wanted to pay for one of these source books. But I ended up ordering this from the Hairy Tarantula, which is a game store in Toronto. One that I plan on going back to actually in a few weeks' time, because I'm actually going back to Toronto at the end of February. And they had this available, and I haven't been able to find this anywhere. So I decided to finally pick this up, and now I have all four quadrants for the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game. So that is a very welcome addition to my collection. I also ended up picking up the Symbaroum Advanced Player's Guide. So I wanted to add a bunch of the Symbaroum books to my collection. I tried ordering the Forbidden Lands role-playing game from Free League, but unfortunately they were completely out of stock and they didn't have any idea when a reprint would occur. So they ended up having to cancel and refund the order. So I placed two orders, one of which was for the Game Master Guide and the Bestiary, or their monster book, maybe Monster Codex. I accidentally also ordered the 5e Symbaroum monster book in that order, but then I also ordered the Advanced Player's Guide separately. So this one has shown up. I'm hoping that the other order can also be fulfilled, but when I went back on the site later on to check, it was showing the GM guide being out pretty much everywhere else as well. So that might be another order that unfortunately gets canceled and refunded. We'll see what happens there. But I do want to try this system out at some point, and I've got the starter set. I have one of the adventure books, and I have the core rule book, and now I have the advanced players book. So I've got some options there for when that time comes. We'll just kind of slide the stuff up here. And then the other role-playing game, again, I don't remember if I'd shown this off in a video or not. I don't think I did, but I ended up getting the Grey Knight for the Pendragon role-playing game. So over the holidays, or before the holidays, I was able to find the core rulebook at HFX Games in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. This one I ordered from 401 Games. It was on for a pretty decent price. And again, it's hard to find Pendragon stuff in Nova Scotia, so I ended up getting this. I wanted this book anyway, because it is like the official adventure campaign, whatever. So if I go to run Pendragon, this is probably what I would end up running. And I know that there is a Game Master Guide coming out at some point in the near future. It's actually referenced in the core rulebook, which is a little frustrating because they're referencing a book that doesn't exist yet. I will be getting that. That might be as far as I go with the Pendragon role-playing game. But even if it is, I've got the starter set, core rule book, I'll have the Game Master Guide, and a published adventure, so I think I'll be doing all right there. All right. Again, something else I can't remember if I had shown off or not, and I still haven't had a chance to start reading it. I really want to get into it. But I was at a Coles bookstore. I think this was in Bridgewater, down the South Shore, Nova Scotia. And they had a book that I wasn't really expecting to ever see, and this was a D&D novel, so they are getting back into releasing Dungeons & Dragons novels, which is really cool. They had the new Dragonlance one there as well, but they had this Spelljammer book, and I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know a ton about Spelljammer, like I was never into it back in the second edition AD&D days. So maybe reading a novel based in that world might help a little bit more with the like the sense of flavor. But I still thought this was really really cool. Interesting looking cover there, kind of catches your attention. You got the GIF on the background there, and then I forget exactly what this is, but I think there's basically like a large or medium sized for game mechanics wise, but like a sentient amoeba type of thing. If I remember, I can't remember if they're called plasmids or something. I can't remember now. But I do remember, I think they had them even in the 5e one, but just really, really cool stuff. And I'll add that to my novel collection. All right. So, some books I never thought I'd own. So I was running my Starfinder game yesterday. I'm recording this on Sunday. And one of the players had mentioned that he was into the store Rainbow's End in Wolfville, and somebody had traded in a whole bunch of like 3rd edition 3.5 D&D books. And he had mentioned some of the titles there, and all the stuff that he had said was books that I had except for one, and he couldn't remember the rest that were there. So we went in today, and kind of glad I did, because I ended up adding quite a few things here. So we'll start with the book that I was kind of looking to pick up. And this is a book that I wasn't really interested in back in the day, but here we are now, all these years later, and I guess I'm finally added to my collection. It's got a little bit of a scuff on the cover there, but the price wasn't all that high, and I probably won't really use it beyond maybe making a video or something for it. But this is Unearthed Arcana for a 3rd edition, or 3.5 specifically, and this is the Big Book of Alternate Rules. So this is, I remember a friend of mine was really big into using this for the armor class modifications. So there was an alternate system where armor was both defense in terms of like your to hit number, but was also a type of damage reduction. And the calculations were really wonky, I think, for both of them, like for all the different armor types. And it just wasn't fun to go through. Now, there are other systems that do that, and I think they do it better because it's part of the core system from the beginning, like the Dragon Age role-playing game. You have a defensive roll or defensive number for enemies to hit against, but your armor is solely damage reduction. So they kind of tried to get the best of both worlds, I think, with this, but there's other things in here that honestly I never really bothered looking at. So I might have to give this a more like sincere and genuine look. But this is the book that I ended up going for, but I ended up walking out with several more, including the 3.0 Oriental Adventures book. So I have the 1st edition version of this, and this was never really on my radar, but a little while ago I sort of took stock of the hardcover books that I have for 3.0, and there weren't a ton. Like most of the 3.0 books were softcover books. So I think this Oriental Adventures and Ghost Walk, I'm pretty certain, are the only 2 hardcover books for 3.0 that I didn't have in my collection. Now, they didn't have Ghost Walk, but they did have Oriental Adventures. It even comes with the map, although similar to like a lot of those maps back in the day, you can tell like this was like the really spotty perforation, because if we look back here, you can see where it had torn out of the back there. But again, this might be an interesting read. I probably won't use it in any of my games. Again, this is 3.0, so I definitely won't be using it for much of anything. But it's still, I think it's going to be a really cool read, and it brings me one step closer to the complete hardcover books for 3.0, and that's really cool. So there we go, Oriental Adventures. And then up next were 5 books that I really wasn't planning on ever really picking up. I didn't have much interest in them, but like normally when you find some of these in the game stores, they'd be 1 or 2, maybe 3 if you were lucky, but there was never the full set of them, which is one of the biggest reasons why I never bothered, because some books showed up way more often than others. But what we have here are the 3rd edition, the 3.0, and these were what we called the old splat books. So these were the Sword and Fist, Defenders of the Faith, Tome and Blood, Masters of the Wild, and Song and Silence. So these were sort of the alternate features or sort of support books for the classes from the 3rd edition 3.0 Player's Handbook. So you've got the fighters, monks, clerics, paladins, barbarians, druids, rangers, wizards, sorcerers, and then the bards and rogues. So that covers the all the classes that were in the player's handbook. And some of these were pretty decent. I just never really got into collecting them back in the day. And again, some of these I always found were really hard to come by. Tome and Blood in particular was one that I don't think I've ever really get to see in game stores, and if I do, they're often in like really horrible shape. So these were all fairly decent in terms of like the condition that they're in, like some minor scuffs and stuff, but they were like $12 each or something like that. So it was kind of within the price range of what I was willing to pay for these. And again, like you never find, or I never find, all five of them available all at the same time at the same store for like halfway decent prices. So I was really happy to be able to add these to my collection, and I'll probably do videos on them in the future because, like I said, these were books I never thought I would own. I wasn't like actively seeking out, but I saw like they had them, and I was just like, okay, do they have all of them? Because I had several of these softcover books there, and it's like Sword and Fist, and then I started going through. It's like that's all five of them. So I decided to bite the bullet and pick that up. And then the last thing here. So this was a buddy of mine went to Monster Comics in the city, and there was some stuff there that I was kind of interested in, so I ended up picking up a book that's actually meant to be a gift for a buddy of mine because it's one that like he really wanted to have the real book for. And the other thing was something that I also have a bit of a weakness for, and that is the D&D 4th edition core rulebook collection. So this is a gift set with a slipcase. So this has all three of the first core rulebooks for D&D 4th edition, and they're all honestly in like really good condition. So these are going to stay inside of the slipcase. Oops, didn't mean to bump the tripod there. They're going to stay inside of the slipcase, and I'll use just my regular, 4th edition books when I go to run my 4E campaign. But really good condition here. The slipcase itself is also in pretty good shape. I mean, it's got a little bit of shelf wear there, but they all get that way, so I'm perfectly fine with that. And that was something again that I've seen other people recently picking up these gift sets. And it's like, well, I'll probably never end up getting that one, but yeah, it came in really good shape, and it was a decent price too. So I told him, yeah, pick it up, and I'll pay for it when you drop them off. So there we go. Those are the January through December, late December through January pickups here for my RPG collection. Let me know in the comments below as my dog barks at something outside. What are your favorite 3.0 books? Did you ever use like Sword and Fist, those splat books there? Did you ever use any of the alternate rules for Unearthed Arcana? Thank you for your time and patience. I got to see what he's barking at, and I will see you all next time. Until then, take care.